For centuries, people have asked the same question. Does God really exist, or is belief just a relic of the past? Some say faith and reason are at war, but what if reason itself, when followed honestly, points straight to God? One man dared to prove it. His name was Thomas Aquinas, a 13th century philosopher and theologian who believed that truth, whether discovered through science or through faith, all flows from the same divine source. Aquinas studied Aristotle's logic, embraced reason, and brought it into harmony with theology. He didn't argue from blind belief, he argued from observation, from the world we can see, touch, and measure. His work, The 5 Ways, became one of history's most profound attempts to show that belief in God is not irrational, it's inevitable. And Aquinas wasn't alone. Before him, Aristotle reasoned toward a prime mover. After him, Leibniz spoke of a necessary being. Descartes, Newton, and Kepler saw divine order in the mathematical structure of the universe. From philosophy to physics, the idea echoes through time, that behind the universe lies intelligence, purpose, and will. So today we follow Aquinas' path, 5 logical steps that start with the world around us and end with the one beyond it. The first way, the argument from motion. Everything in motion is moved by something else. But if every motion depends on another, where did it start? Look around. Planets orbit, hearts beat, atoms vibrate, galaxies swirl through space. Every motion we observe is caused by something else in motion. The cue ball moves because it was struck by the stick, which moved because of a human arm, which moved because of electrical signals in the brain, which themselves required chemical energy from food, and on it goes. If every movement is borrowed, where did the first push come from? Aquinas argues that this chain of motion cannot stretch back infinitely, because if there were no first mover, nothing would move at all. An infinite regress of movers explains nothing. It's like trying to lift a train with cars that all depend on the one in front of them, yet none has an engine. There must be a prime mover, something that initiates motion without being moved itself, unmoved yet moving all things, dependent on nothing yet sustaining everything. That unmoved mover, Aquinas concludes, is what we call God, the uncaused mover, the timeless creator who holds every moment in being. The second way, the argument from efficient cause. Every effect has a cause. Nothing exists without something bringing it into being. A tree comes from a seed from another tree, a child from parents. Even a star born from the collapse of cosmic gas and gravity has a cause. But if every effect has a cause, we're faced with the same problem as before. Who or what caused the first cause? Aquinas reasoned that causes cannot stretch backward forever. If there were no first cause, nothing could exist now, because every effect would still be waiting on its cause to begin. Like an endless row of dominoes that never fall because no one ever touched the first. There must be a first cause, uncaused by anything else, the necessary foundation upon which every chain of cause and effect depends. That first cause doesn't just explain how things began, but why anything exists at all instead of nothing. Every atom, every star, every heartbeat, all trace their existence back to one ultimate source. Aquinas calls that source God, the uncaused cause, the timeless creator who holds every moment in being. The third way, the argument from contingency. Everything we see in the universe depends on something else. Mountains crumble, stars burn out, and living things rise and fall. Everything that exists could just as easily not exist. You and I are contingent. We depend on parents, on oxygen, on gravity, on time. The entire universe itself is a vast network of dependencies. But if everything is dependent, then at one point nothing should have existed. And if there was ever a time when nothing existed, then nothing could exist now, because from nothing, nothing comes. So Aquinas reasoned that there must be at least one thing that exists necessarily, something that cannot not exist, a being whose existence is not borrowed or conditional, a reality that doesn't receive existence but is existence. All other things, galaxies, atoms, souls, and time itself, draw their being from this source. Like light spilling from a flame, all contingent existence flows from one eternal necessity. That necessary being, uncaused and self-existent, Aquinas calls God, the ground of all being, the reason there is something rather than nothing. The fourth way, the argument of gradation. We live in a world of comparisons. Some things are better, truer, or more beautiful than others. A kind act is greater than a cruel one. A wise teacher surpasses a fool. A sunrise is more radiant than the darkness before it. But when we recognize degrees of goodness, truth, or beauty, we are also recognizing a standard, a highest measure by which all lesser things are known. You call something warm because you compare it to what is warmer. You call something good because you sense something better. Yet this ladder of comparison cannot rise forever without end. There must be a highest, the perfect fullness of every quality we perceive in part. Aquinas reasoned that just as fire is the cause of all things that are hot, there must exist a being that is the cause of all goodness, all truth, and all beauty, not merely possessing these qualities, but being them perfectly. That supreme standard of all perfection, the absolute good against which all things are measured, Aquinas calls God, the ultimate reference point of every virtue, every truth, and every joy. The fifth way, the argument of design. Order does not come from chaos by accident. Everywhere we look, we find purpose woven into the fabric of reality. The laws of physics are precisely balanced to allow life. The human eye, more complex than any camera, obeys principles of optics discovered long after it was made. Even the smallest cell functions like a microscopic city. Factories, power plants, highways, communication lines, all working in harmony toward an end. Yet none of these things direct themselves. An arrow flies toward its target, but only because an archer aimed it. Likewise, the universe moves toward order, function, and purpose, not by chance, but by intention. Aquinas called this the argument of design, or the final cause. Unintelligent things, atoms, molecules, stars, act in consistent and purposeful ways only because they are guided by something with intelligence. That guiding intelligence is not within creation, it transcends it. The universe is not a mindless accident, it's a masterpiece. And every law, every constant, every living thing points back to the same conclusion. There is a mind behind the cosmos, a designer who thought the universe into being and still holds it in perfect balance. Aquinas calls that designer God, the divine intelligence who thought the universe into being and still holds it in perfect balance. From motion to cause to existence to perfection to design, 5 paths, all leading to the same destination. Each begins in the world we can see, a universe in motion, effects that demand causes, contingent beings that depend on something beyond themselves, goodness that points toward a perfect standard, and intricate design that whispers of a guiding intelligence. Aquinas never asked us to abandon reason. He invited us to follow it to its ultimate conclusion. And when reason runs its full course, it does not end in chaos or chance or nothingness, but in someone. The first mover, the first cause, the necessary being, the supreme good, the divine designer. Different paths, one truth. The universe is not self-existent, it is sustained. Not random, but rational. Not accidental, but intentional. And the one who moves, causes, sustains, perfects, and designs all things, Aquinas calls God. If this video sparked something in you, don't stop here. Keep exploring the harmony between reason and revelation. Because science shows us the how of the universe, philosophy reveals the why, and theology introduces us to the who. Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe, share, and join the movement of truth seekers who believe faith and reason don't collide, they converge.